Hey, look which one I got. Look what I got.
Here, Elizabeth, go choose a pretty color that you like.
Welcome to Watch Like a Kid.
A podcast where we watch your kid shows so you don't have to.
We are your hosts, Diane and Gabriele.
So come, be a
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. It's showtime.
Hello, Gabby.
Hi, Diane.
Welcome to Watch Like a Kid. We're so glad you're here. It's been a hot second.
It has. Goodness. I don't even remember. Was it Harold and the Purple Crown? Is that the last time we did this?
The purple crayon? Yes. It was.
She thinks I say it wrong.
And everybody who commented agreed with me profusely.
I don't know about profusely.
I think what we did agree on was crayon is wrong no matter what.
Unless you're from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, but...
There was a homie. I'm pretty sure you know who you are.
You know who you are. Everybody has a flaw.
Everyone has one.
If that's not a bad flaw to have. It's an annoying flaw, but not a bad flaw. So, Gabby, I have to say that I know you've been on this train longer than I have, but I just discovered just how great it is to go watch a movie in the daytime.
Girl, and by yourself. That's the ticket. You gotta go by yourself in a matinee. Go on a matinee,
Yes.
by yourself. You know, it's okay if if you're a working woman, awesome, love you for that. So you could do like a Saturday or a Sunday. But if you're a little unemployed, go on a Tuesday, go on a Wednesday, Thursday in the morning, 10 a.m. It's a pretty good slot. You go, you sit down by yourself, you have your slushie, you have your popcorn, whatever you want to do. There's no one there. And the experience, it's so healing.
It is so nice. Sometimes I wonder, I really love unconventional jobs. That's why one of the many reasons I love my job, because I know a lot of people, they work their 9 to 5 or whatever, and for me, I just love having some randomness in there. But sometimes I'm like, why, what am I doing? And then I realize it's because I can go see a movie in the morning whenever I want. It's kind of like when you get an early workout, or you're able to journal, you wake up at 5 a.m. and you get so much done and it's not even noon. That's how I feel coming out.
It gets you ready. If you feel productive, it gets you ready for your day. You saw a whole narrative unfold before your eyes before you even got to work.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
And you have the whole place to yourself.
Yep.
And it kind of gives the vibe of when you are at an airport where I know it's 10 a.m., but I'm going to have an icy, and then I'm going to fill it up after.
There is a liminal space feeling about it where, nothing here counts. So, you can have 2 ices even though you're, almost 30, and it's, fine. Your body's not going to be mad you were at the movies.
You were at the movies, babe. Have that popcorn. It's fresh because it's 10 a.m.-ish. We think, we hope. And it's just such an amazing thing sometimes to treat yourself, because with the way things are nowadays and third spaces becoming less and less available, and there just not being many places to go besides work and home. I know you have to pay for a movie and it can it can add up a bit, but just to treat yourself
just
sometimes.
a little treat. Honestly, if I had more money, I would do it daily. If I had a lot of money, I would get one of those memberships where you have unlimited movies for the month, and I would be there. I would see a movie multiple times,
and then you feel like you're really caught up on everything, because you're like, yeah, I've seen all the Oscar-nominated films. I've seen all the kids' films. I've seen all the bad, from the bad to the best.
And it's good because I think at nighttime, you go at night, you've already been overstimulated by the day. It's hard to process a whole going out movie. Maybe when you're sitting at home and you're in your blanket, you can kind of, because if you fall asleep, it's not a big deal, or if you need to pause it or get a snack. But going to the movie theater at night, sometimes I'm just I'm just tired.
It really does set your day up for success in a very strange way, because it's fun entertainment, yes, but afterward I find myself treating myself the entire day. I'm let me go out and give myself a little bite to eat, or a little drink, or just walk around the park or something. I just feel so positive, even if it's a moving picture or a think piece even. I'm just you know what, now I can think about it the whole day.
What do you mean by moving picture?
Something that's a little
deeper.
Oh,
moving. I heard moving picture as just a movie. And I was like, okay. We're going to the olden days.
We're going back,
baby.
yeah.
But you mean like something moving,
Like something
heartfelt.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
Heartfelt, that's a good word, thank you.
So, speaking of heartfelt, what did you see that morning, and was it a heartfelt choice?
I know a lot of you think, based on the way we are dressed for theme today, that Lisa Frankenstein 2 has already hit the theaters.
Ooh, now I need a Frankenstein 2.
I know. That would be great. Little follow-up. But no, I went to see Beetlejuice 2.
Ooh.
Or Beetlejuice.
So,
Don't say it a third time.
I won't. Listen, family, if you know me, I'm deeply Pentecostal, and I don't do witchy stuff. I don't do woo-woo stuff. I don't do demonic stuff.
You were...
I don't fool around with the Beetlejuice. I'm not gonna lie. So
as much as you love fall...
I know.
And
I
all
love
things fall and like themed. The
love a
Beetlejuice is like as
theme.
themed as it gets. It's
I
as
know.
it is campy and kitschy.
And I'm sure it's honestly fine. Like, I'm not trying to tell y'all not to watch Beetlejuice. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just like, I probably have some sort of like religious trauma. I need to work out in therapy. Diane's gonna edit that out.
No, I'm not. Anybody else in the same sinking boat as Gabby here? Give us a call. Shout us out.
Basically, Diane was like, I'm gonna watch this because I've not even seen the first Beetlejuice. So honestly, I don't know if I even would have understood. Do you have to watch the first one to get the second one?
You should know the basis, yeah, but you don't have to. I mean, it has been a while since I've seen the first one. I've seen it multiple times, but it's been at least 2 Halloweens since I've seen it. Sorry, we go by, it's a Halloween movie, therefore you
right, yeah.
base it off of how many
makes
Halloweens.
sense.
Same with a Christmas movie. You're not like, it's been 5 years. You're like, it's been 5 Christmases.
It's been 5 Christmases.
And you're like, oh, that was the one Christmas that this happened. That's how
Right.
you remember the benchmarks of when you last watch things like that. You have to know the characters.
Okay.
And the premise of it and where it takes place. But there were new characters. There was totally new plot line, but it's still intertwined with the old to like get people to come and want to see it.
Got you.
I guess since you haven't seen it at all, I need to give you a bit of background.
Yeah,
right?
a little like Beetlejuice workshop for those of us who haven't seen it.
'Cause you're like,
why do I look like this?
Yeah, you're like, what's a Beetlejuice? Yeah, today I will admit, she goes, how do I dress? And I'm like, we're like, black and white stripes if you have any. And she's like, how should I do my hair? Like, is like, braids too Wednesday? And I was like, make kooky bangs, please, anything.
This is what we're doing. This is
the curly-haired Winona over here. Winona Ryder was in it.
Love her.
Michael Keaton, he's Beetlejuice.
Okay.
And you want to think it because he's like been nominated for Oscars and he's like done really big dramatic, films and stuff. I actually, when I first saw Beetlejuice many years ago, I didn't realize that it was him. He did such a good job.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so who is Beetlejuice? Like, what is he? Is he like a monster? Is he a man? Like, what is he?
So I know you don't love jumping back and forth in time, and this movie doesn't do it a ton, but there is one scene where you get backstory. Okay. And I love a good origin story, even if it's just like 5 minutes in the film. So give us a little something. So in the second film, we do learn how Beetlejuice became Beetlejuice.
Oh, like a little origin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So he was in like the plague days, you could say, and he was like, okay, a lot of like bodies were piling up and I was just a grave robber, and then I fell in love with this beautiful woman that came out of nowhere. We were both weirdos, to say the least. And then she basically like poisons him because she wanted to get like eternal life, and to do so you had to sacrifice a human soul or something like that to get.
See, that's why I'll be playing around with this witchcraft, y'all.
Exactly. Yeah, not gonna lie. And then he kind of turns and he's like, well, joke's on her, and he ends up chopping her to pieces.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's like, when she's like, is somebody gonna match my freak? And he said, yes, I am.
Today's your lucky day. But he does end up dying. Okay. The whole premise of Beetlejuice is like there's this underworld or afterlife of sorts, and that's like where he's stuck in. But his whole goal is to try to be able to be like human again and like come back to life and like be above
To
ground.
be human again. All right, so it's a little Quirk's bride.
Kind of, yeah.
He's like stuck in the afterlife. He wants to be where the living are.
But he's sneaky. He's he's not like a villain.
Is he a
But he's not a good
ghost?
guy. No. He's like a being. Like
How does he enter the realm of Jenna Ortega?
I'm so glad you asked that, because first we have to ask how he entered the realm with Winona Ryder in the first movie. And that is the old wives' tale, so to speak, of if you say his name 3 times, he appears. And then he like annoys you and won't go away. It's kind of like
is that
you
just
get
like
cursed.
is that like witchcraft math? Like how is
It's
just
basically
saying
like
his name making him pop up into the world?
It is. It's like afterlife math. So in the first movie, there's this ghost couple.
Okay.
Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Star-studded
honestly.
cast.
80s
this
hit.
Beetlejuice movie.
And they're in this old house, and at first you don't realize that they're ghosts.
Yeah.
Because they look normal and everything. Basically, they have a hard time moving on. So
Okay.
that's why they're still like stuck in the in-between. And when you die, they give you like a book for the recently deceased. And it's got like cheat sheets and like what to do.
Like
and
a how-to
everything.
guide to being dead?
Basically. And you can go into the afterlife, and there's actually like a waiting room, and you take a number, and there's like a guy that's been impaled, or like a guy with a tiny head, and it's like how they died, like it shows it. Like which is like
that's kind of
so
funny.
The makeup
Yeah.
and special effects, like it's so good.
Okay.
Tim Burton does a great job at making it so it's not like a ton of CGI. It's
Right.
like real costuming.
Yeah.
And in the first movie, there's this model home of sorts. It's like this tiny little version of the town.
Okay.
And so the ghosts are kind of being like, we died, like what do we do? And then pops up in the graveyard this like signal pointing down to Beetlejuice's grave, and they're like, what is that? And then there's like a flyer that comes and says, hey, do you need help going to the afterlife? Or he makes up whatever you need help with. Say Beetlejuice.
Didn't they have a whole guidebook?
But it doesn't really help them. They go down, there's like an elevator, they go down in the afterlife, and it's like take a seat, take a number, and the number is like 1 million, and they're on number 2 kind of thing, like waiting room.
Okay.
And so they're like,
I
we
understand
want a
that
quick
one.
fix at first.
Okay.
And so they say Beetlejuice 3 times. They regret it. He won't go away. He's causing havoc. In comes Winona Ryder.
Is she a ghost?
No, she's a teenager in the first movie. A little gothy girl in her prime. We don't give Winona enough love.
Did her hair look like mine?
Yes. Yes, but like much more jagged.
Okay.
She was just goth queen in that whole era.
Honestly,
Her Edward Scissorhands, Heather's like, please, we don't deserve Winona.
We don't.
I'm so
honestly.
glad. And this has just really been like her coming back to film, and it's just been so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
She's been so well received. I love it. I want to see her in just everything.
I haven't seen her since Stranger Things, I feel like.
Yeah, I can't wait till she's out of that. Back into some good films.
Listen, Stranger Things season 1, iconic. After that, I don't know.
1 and
know.
2, yeah. After that, if you guys want to know our thoughts on Stranger Things, just let us know, because this episode will just spiral if I continue talking about it in the slightest. In comes teenage Winona Ryder. Her name is Lydia in the film, and she has just moved into that house with her dad and her stepmom, who is none other than Catherine O'Hara.
What?
Yes, redhead Catherine O'Hara. And she's like an artist who feels things, and like her sculptures are just like very
Oh my god.
strange. She's born to play this part.
You're really selling this movie, I'm not gonna lie.
I think we need to watch it, honestly. And it's great because you can tell that it's all very played up.
Yeah.
It's not like gore.
It's not scary, it's more
not scary.
funny.
It's, yeah, like you can tell like, oh, like that's styrofoam, that's, it's not going to be super scary.
Yeah.
I will admit the first film is a little more out there.
Okay.
Probably because it was really never been done before that.
Yeah.
The second film really continues
Mm-hmm.
with the vibe of the first, but it wasn't really anything new. It wasn't anything like too extra.
Okay.
It was just like classic Tim Burton. Like if you love it, it's great, but it wasn't trying to be too much.
Okay.
I don't think. It wasn't trying to be where a lot of revivals or sequels try to like outdo the first.
Yeah.
I think Tim Burton was like, there's no way I can outdo Beetlejuice 1, but like, Winona's here, let's film something, you know? Like, let's get the crew back together. So she doesn't want to be there. She's like goth girl, got her camera and everything. She goes up into the attic where the ghosts are and stuff. She can see them. Nobody else can.
Oh, so Sixth Sense.
Yes. And
But
so
these
they're like,
ghosts know they're dead.
yes. That's why they're like, you can see us. And she's like, yeah, and what are you doing in my house? They're like, no, we're like dead. We're dead. So basically, they accidentally enlist Beetlejuice to help them. They regret it because he's got loopholes and he's sneaky and he has his own agenda kind of thing. And so his thing is he wants to marry Lydia.
Because he's very corpse bride again.
Very
he thinks marrying Lydia is gonna put him back into a freaking
a human form, like basically.
That's not how it works.
It apparently is a way. He's loophole.
This is like
master.
90 Day Fiance for dead people.
Essentially. So the whole first movie, they're like trying to go against Beetlejuice, but still trying to find a way for the ghost to like move on, and so they're able to like out sneak Beetlejuice. Like he's like this sneaky kind of loopholey guy, and they're like able to outdo him. And so in the end, he gets sucked back in the afterlife. They're like, oh,
yeah,
thank God. There's some really funny out there scenes. Like at one point, he like tries to possess the house. Like he wants to try to get everyone to move out because the ghosts don't want anyone living in their home because they think they can't move on, and they're like, we don't want these people, these humans, these alive people in our house. So they enlist Beetlejuice to get rid of them, but he takes it a little too far. He makes things come to life. One of the very iconic scenes in the film is he kind of possesses the family. They're having like a dinner with like some of the stepmoms, like art friends and stuff, and they play I can't remember the name of the song, but I can sing it.
Go for it.
The daylight come if you wanna go home 6 foot. And they do like a whole like dance thing, and like they float and everything. And there's this very iconic part where Winona's just like in midair and she's just like loving it. And the mom and the dad are like, why are we possessed? Like they do get scared, which is what they wanted at first. But Beetlejuice kind of is a little over the top about
Why is Beetlejuice being a whole thing when all he has to do is romance Winona?
I think he needs a hobby, and he's ugly. This man's can't. Romance isn't his first language.
Do they ever fall for each other in the movie?
No.
Okay.
No. He is this. He's got nasty hair and like mold or like green ick all along the hairline. He's got like the nasty fake teeth that are like super like dirty and everything.
So
he's like, hey, sugar. You know, like he's like, hey, baby. You know,
if he's
like,
so smart, why does he think anyone's gonna marry him looking like that?
He is charismatic.
You know what? Men, they know.
They know.
They know. They're like, you know what? I may not have a looks apartment, but I am charismatic.
Yes.
And that does go a long way.
That goes a long way. So that resolves the first movie.
Okay.
It was in the 80s. It had never really been done before. It launched. I mean, Tim Burton was already amazing, but like that just created this whole genre. It stands alone. Like nothing has ever compared because there was like stop motion animation mixed in with real set design and costuming mixed with it was just like a whole different vibe. It was like a Halloween-y movie, but it wasn't like scary, give you nightmares, but it was also like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah.
I actually do think you would like it. I know
Okay.
if you put aside all of like the he's an undead person essentially.
Right.
So the second movie comes around. Lydia's all grown up. She has a teenage daughter.
Miss Ortega?
Yes. The new goth queen. New
Of
goth
course.
girl of our generation. I mean, there's actually been interviews, there's clips of it where Winona, Catherine O'Hara, and Jenna Ortega are, like, doing interviews together. And they're like, why Beetlejuice 2 now? Like, what happened to everything? And Winona, like, just sings the praises of Jenna Ortega. She was like, We didn't realize it, but we were just waiting for Jenna to be
They
born
were.
and grow up so she could do this part.
I mean, just
And it's
like her
true.
eyes alone, they're so like dollhousey. They're so perfect for
yes.
like being like a goth girl, and she has the perfect like stoic face. When I try
Straight
to do a
face.
stoic straight face, I just look bored.
Yeah.
But she actually like is giving something in it. It's really
Yeah, and she can really like talk with her eyes when she's giving that kind of blank face. She just did a great job. I will say, I think Beetlejuice 2 is, I mean, it's still like camped up, but it feels like it was more for the masses, which I personally really love, because then it can make everyone fall in love with the first Beetlejuice. It can really just, anyone can watch it, because the storyline is kind of tale as old as time.
Yeah.
So, Jenna Ortega's character is Astrid. She has an estranged relationship with her mom, because her mom is now famous for being like a ghost teller, seer person. She has her own TV show and whatever. Astrid thinks ghosts aren't real. Her dad passed away many years ago. He was like on an island, and he like got lost in the ocean or something. They never found him. So she and her mom don't really get along.
Yeah, because if you don't think ghosts are real, and your mom is sitting over here saying, well, one time, because of a ghost, I was levitating, doing this dance to this song, and it was a great old time. I'd be like, Mom, you are delulu. Get out of my face. And then, my dad's dead. You're going to tell me if ghosts are real, my dad won't come visit me?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is she's like, you can see every ghost passing by, but the one ghost I would want to be able to see is Dad, and you can't see him. And the thing with Winona is she can't just like conjure ghosts.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens. She kind of sees it.
She's kind of like, oh, so
like a
she
seer
doesn't conjure,
type.
she just sees.
She can just kind of.
So it's not like she's a medium.
No.
Okay.
No. Although she can kind of talk to them.
Right, but it's like just happen only if she happens to walk
happens.
by them. It's not like she can like conjure up someone's dead mother and talk to them. It's like, oh yeah, I saw your dead mom at the 7-Eleven and she said such and such.
Yeah, she can like feel their presence.
Okay.
Especially if like they haven't moved on or something major or things like that.
Okay.
They don't go into like a ton of detail.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So she's like well known. She's got a big TV show, all that jazz. She has like a producer boyfriend who's kind of like a jerk, but we know it, and she knows it, and she's just kind of with him just cause.
Is Jenna's character in high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She goes to like a boarding school or something.
Okay.
So basically they get the news that Lydia's dad passed away.
Okay.
So Astrid's grandfather.
Right.
And Catherine O'Hara's husband.
Okay.
So he got eaten by a shark. He was like they come up with some ridiculous thing. He was like, because he was always like the normal one in the film. So he went like bird watching in some remote island area, and then on the way back or something like that, he fell into the water, and then that's when Lydia's like, did he drown? And then Catherine O'Hara's character is like, worse, no, he got eaten by a shark, which is really funny. So we do see him in the afterlife in parts, but his head is missing and everything.
No.
And he's just like, hello, where do I go kind of thing. But like, you can't really hear him. It's really sweet.
Sweet.
I think it's funny. You'll find out why it's sweet, but I think it's funny. They have to go back to that house.
Okay.
To basically pack everything up to be able to sell it. It was the dad loved that house, but bad juju, bad memories kind of thing. So they pull Astrid out of school to go to have the funeral, all of that. She finds the attic and the makeshift town and everything. She sees a flyer that has Beetlejuice's name on it. And her mom, she says Beetlejuice's name 2 times. And her mom's like, stop it. And she's like, they're not real. And she's like, don't you dare ever say his name 3 times kind of thing. And she's telling Catherine O'Hara's character, she's like, dude, we gotta like... And then I've actually been seeing Beetlejuice. Like, I feel like I've been seeing him in places. Because she does of like, she'll see a group of people and think one of them is Beetlejuice. And on second look, it's not. But she's like, something's going on. Like, it's been years. Why am I seeing him kind of thing. Her jerk producer of a boyfriend just kind of wants money and fame and glory, all that kind of stuff. He proposes to her, like, during the funeral.
What?
To make it about him. Yeah, like, after the funeral. And
That's
she's just
so
like...
weird.
okay, I guess. And he's like, okay, cool. But he tells her, she's like, oh, I've been seeing this other, the guy that was in the attic, like Beetlejuice explaining it. She's like, and he feels like they're fake. He doesn't believe in ghosts, but he tells her he believes in it. So he goes, okay, to get you through this, we're gonna do it. And she's like, do what? And so he says, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Why?
And she's like, no. Because he thinks that it's like gonna help her get over it, or like, I don't know, something.
No.
They get transported into Beetlejuice's office.
He's in the underworld?
In the afterlife, yep. They just get transported real quick, and it freaks out the boyfriend. He's like, what is happening? He thinks that they're, like, on drugs or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Beetlejuice needs help. Because...
Yeah, because it's been 30 years and he still hasn't made it to the world, like, real world.
Exactly. And he's still in love with Lydia, and he's
Stop,
biding
no,
his time.
Not.
Yes, he is. He has a
Homie,
picture...
you were never in love with Lydia, okay? This was all a ruse for you to get back on Earth.
He has a picture of teenage her, and he's just like, oh, my sweet, my one and only heart. And then he realizes his ex-girlfriend, or I guess ex-wife, that he cut to pieces, has somehow come back to life. There was like a shock of lightning. Her body pieces are in different boxes in the afterlife, and they get like put back together.
I was about to say, what is, like in WonkaVision, where they take them all apart and then put them back together? Yeah. I was kind of like imagining her little particles like everywhere.
It's very like Addams Family, where like the hand is like crawling to meet, and she like links it, and then she like staples all the pieces.
Oh,
and
so that is
like,
very Lisa Frankenstein. I'm sure
Lisa
Frankenstein got it from other stuff, but
and it's so funny because Danny DeVito makes a cameo.
Oh,
he's like this zombie dead guy that's like the janitor, and like that's when like big lightning flash or something, and then he sees her and she's gorgeous, and he's like, hey, you can't be in here. She can suck the soul out of even dead people.
Wait, if they're already dead, where do they go once she sucks the life out of them?
They stop existing completely. They can't move on. They can't go anywhere. They're just non-existent. And that's like even scarier for dead people.
Like beyond, like...
They're just... She sucks their soul and they're gone. Because even though they're dead, they're gone, but they still have their soul until they move on or until they go... what they have is they have the soul train to the great beyond.
I get
They have a scene with the Soul Train, and it's all these like 1970s, like they're all just like dancing. Like, all aboard on the Soul Train to the great beyond.
So how does she can just do that as many times as she wants to anybody she wants?
Kind of gives her power. Yeah, so she's bad guy.
Oh.
So he's like, ugh, my ex-wife's looking for me, kind of thing. I can't do a Beetlejuice voice. I'm not gonna try, but he basically is like that. And so he is like, oh wow, great to see you, Lydia. I come back for you. Yeah, so here's an agreement. I'll help, can you marry me kind of thing. She's like, ew, no, goes back to her life or whatever. Meanwhile, Astrid has a little love interest.
Wait, was Astrid there during
this was her and her boyfend were there.
Okay, so Astrid still doesn't believe in ghosts.
No, she still does not.
Okay, is the love interest a ghost?
She gets mad at her mom after like the funeral, like rides her bike, gets like crashes the bike, and then there's this teenage kid up in a treehouse, and he's like, you okay there? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. They meet, she's kind of like likes him, and he's like, do you want to come over on Halloween, pass out candy, yada yada. Her mom's like, okay, I'll drop you off kind of thing. She goes, and she's dressed as Marie Curie once she gets radiation poisoning.
Okay.
Niche costume, I guess. But we'll go with it, Astrid. We'll go with it, you little goth queen. So
is he a ghost?
Can you wait?
I mean, I'm just thinking it would be iconic if her love interest dressed up like a ghost.
Can you?
Or even like Beetlejuice.
Ew, Beetlejuice. He's much cuter than Beetlejuice, guys. His parents are home. They're just like, oh, hey, whatever. They don't pay him any mind. They go up to his room and everything. She's like, we can hand out candy. He goes, oh, well, actually, I just kind of like to, like, hang out with you, like, in here. Like, you're really nice and stuff. So they kiss.
You're still not telling me what he dressed up as.
He wasn't, he was dressed up as just, like, kind of like a Thriller's outfit kind of thing. Like, he wasn't really
like Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they referenced him to something else, but that's what I thought he looked like. He was wearing like a red leather jacket.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Someone maybe from Happy Days character or something like that. I don't know. So they kiss in his bedroom, and then suddenly she looks down and she's floating. He's a ghost.
I knew it. That's why you were. See, that's why Diane was getting upset. So that's why she was like, can you wait? Because
you-
I was predicting all of it. Because I knew how the story was going to turn out.
And that's what I'm saying is that
He's a
the
dang
first
ghost.
Beetlejuice, you have no idea what in the world is going on. It's so weird and chaotic and kitschy and campy. This one, plot-wise, you
kinda
kind
see
of
it
are
coming.
like, oh, okay. Like, you're like, oh, cute. Like, there's a death. There's a estranged mother-daughter relationship. There's a ghost boy. And then suddenly she's like, my mother was right?
Oh my
It's
god.
like, yeah,
this
like-
is so Dua Lipa. You get kissed by a man and now you're levitating. Like, come on.
Yeah. Honestly. Moonlight, starlight. Getting off track, Debbie. This is not a musical. They
There
do.
is a Beetlejuice musical.
Let's go. That actually reminds me, as a side note, they actually used to have a Beetlejuice show at Universal Studios in Florida. And one time we went to Universal Studios and we went to the show and there was like the big ugly Beetlejuice like actor on stage and he's like yada yada yada. You know how like they always like call somebody out on the stage to like come up or
Right,
something or
right.
like they pick on someone. For some reason Beetlejuice in the first movie, he's always trying to pick like a wife or something. So, you know, like he's going in the crowd being like, oh,
Where's
what's a
all the
pretty
pretty
lady?
ladies?
He chooses my mother, who is this beautiful pin-up, very like, you know, reserved, like little Southern belle. And she's like, I am not your wife. She doesn't know how to play along with it. But she's just like, I'm not your wife. You know? And he just comes back every now and then. He comes into the crowd at one point and like sits like right next to her. And he's like, does your husband with you? And my dad's like, yep, that's me. He's like, hey, can I borrow her for a minute? We got a hot date kind of thing. He's like, come on, honey. Like he kept going back in it the whole show. And it would have been so funny just naturally because I think that was just such a funny part in the show for like interaction with the audience. But the fact that it was my mom.
That's so funny.
Is one of like, I don't know why it's a core memory, but I
No,
remember
I
it
know
so
why it's a core
vividly.
memory. I would remember the life out of that memory.
She was trying so hard not to laugh, but she was just like, you need a
honestly,
bath. Like, she was
Mama
like,
Collie, like, iconic.
Spawn.
The moment.
I don't even know if she remembers it. She very well might have just blocked it out. But it was, because like she doesn't like that much attention anyway.
I'm
but
so
she
mad
was
no
like,
one filmed it. That would have been so fun to like bring back up.
this was like well over a decade
Oh,
ago. Like
ew.
we probably had like 8 gigabyte phone kind of thing. Like we weren't taking videos of everything.
Oh my god.
He tells her, he's like, yeah, like, I've never been able to leave my house, really. I had an accident falling off of the tree that you saw me in. You know, like, he shows her, like, the scar, and he's like, nobody's seen me for, like, 25 years. Except you, until you've seen me. And she was like, oh my god, I can see ghosts too. Oh my god, my mom is, oh my god, I have something in common with my mom. Kind of like a teenage thing where she's like, oh no, I don't want to be like my mom.
How come she hasn't seen like other ghosts, like the ones that her mom has seen?
Maybe it was triggered. Maybe she just wasn't in that environment. They grazed over that part.
Beetlejuice math.
Beetlejuice math. She's still really realistic, even though she's just found out ghosts are actually real. Because he's like, I like you, I want to be with you. And she just looks at him and she goes, but you're dead.
Yeah, no, we've all learned from The Corpse Bride that like there's a like she still breathes there. Like yeah, there's like there's a difference between the living and the dead.
Yeah, especially
And-
since he can't leave his house.
Yeah, you can't leave your house. No one can see him. What kind of life are y'all gonna have?
It seems like the relationship would hit a dead end eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, well, I'm so glad you brought that up. I have a way, I've been reading this book and stuff. I have a way where I can get into the afterlife and then like get my soul back or like my life back and become human again, like be alive again. And she was like, wow, really?
Oh no.
And then he's like, yeah, like, but I need like someone to help me, and you're the only person that's been able to see me, like, but I need like a human to help me. And she's like, okay, yeah, I bet, let's go to the afterlife, I guess. So they're able to, they use the book for the recently deceased.
Oh.
They draw like it's so funny. She's like, they draw a door, not with a purple crayon, but they draw a door with some chalk.
I was like,
And
first of all, this is not a book of forbidden magic, but it's very
Yes.
similar to
It
that. And then
it's like a read
purple-
the fine print kind of book.
Yeah, and I'm like calling back to so many other episodes of Watch Like a Kid.
She does that too, which you guys should watch her episodes.
Please watch them.
Please watch them. It all circles back, guys. We all have these inside jokes we want you to be a part of. Because right now it's just us. The inside joke is in this room. We'd like for it to at least be an inside closed circle or something. She looks at him and she just goes, really? We just draw a door? It's that easy to get into the afterlife kind of thing?
Her energy is
yeah,
giving.
I love it. And she just does a straight face where she's like, she's still so done with it, but also down to help him. It's really kind of like, okay, girl, pick a side. And he's like, okay, no, like, I need you, in order for, you're a human, so you can't really enter the afterworld, technically. So just, like, say this, like, incantation, like Latin or something, and then it'll help it so you're able to pass through. Because, like, a lot of people...
Then how did the homies, Winona and her boyfriend, get to the afterworld?
Well, Beetlejuice has so many loopholes, and I'll get to it. So, he says that, and they enter the afterworld and everything. Meanwhile... Lydia is, Winona Ryder's character, is finishing up with this, like, lawyer chick who's like, okay, I'm ready to set the house on the market and everything. And Lydia's just like, after seeing Beetlejuice, she's like, I want out. I want to sell it as fast. I want to box everything up. We're leaving, like, tomorrow to go back to Manhattan.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It started out the start of the movie was in New York, and I was like, I'm here for it. No, but also I'm here. Why wasn't I here when they filmed? Why did I not notice they were filming it? Like,
I don't know.
Wish I had. The realtor is very, like, one of those, like, realtor sharks where she's like, everyone's been dying to have this on the market. There's only one other house in this entire town. I haven't been able to be on the market in forever, and it's on, like, this street. And the mom was like, oh, really? Oh, what's the house number? And she's like, 125. And she's like, are you why do you want to sell and stuff? She goes, oh, well, the only reason I can't sell it is because, like, no one wants to buy a murder house. And Lydia's like, what do you mean a murder house? She goes, oh, well, like, nobody's lived there in, like, 25 years because the son murdered his two parents, and then when the cops cornered him, he fell out of the treehouse.
Oh,
killed
no.
both of his parents.
Jenna, baby.
So when Jenna saw the parents, they were ghosts, and the reason she didn't really only saw half their faces, when they turned around, the mom had, like the whipping tool for, like, baking and stuff, like, in her eyeball, and the dad had, like, a saw or something, like, in half of his face.
The way that family is still a family unit after that kind of drama.
Well, they're stuck there.
Yeah, but what do you mean they can't leave the house?
No.
Why not?
They're confined to where they died. Same with the other family in the first movie.
Oh, that's why they were
couldn't
trying
leave
to kick them out of the house.
Because that was their house, because they couldn't, yeah.
So these two people have to be in the same location as
the
their
mom
son?
is still like, oh, hi, honey. Because they're, like, frozen in time, so I guess. Yeah. For some reason, they're not able to move on either, you know.
Oh,
I don't know. Death is a tricky thing, I guess. And then it clicks for Lydia, and she goes, oh, my God. My daughter has a date there. And then the realtor's like, oh, surely you have the wrong house because nobody's lived there. Like, and she's like, oh my God, the boy she's with, that's the kid. Oh, he murdered his family. He's a ghost. And so she drives her Tesla all the way to the house, parks and runs. And as soon as she gets upstairs, she is too late because she sees her daughter cross through the door, and the door closes. It's like big bright light and everything. She's like, oh my God,
I am stressed out.
She is a human. She can't just...
Right, without Beetlejuice. Oh, she's going to have to call upon Beetlejuice.
She's got to call upon Beetlejuice. So she's just like, Beetlejuice. And he's like, you rang, kind of thing. He's like, hey, baby, you changed your mind?
Because he's still so delusional.
Yeah, so he's like, I already know what's up. I can get your daughter out of this kerfuffle thing. Here, sign this, and she just signs, like, the contract, so to speak, or whatever.
She doesn't even read it.
He just goes straight into helping her.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I know we're gonna circle back to what he wants, but, like, they go straight into that afterlife.
Well, I mean, there's like, it's a little, like, we got high stakes over here, like TikTok.
Exactly. But he's like, all for helping her. She's like, help my daughter. I'm not even gonna ask what you want right now. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But since he just kind of drags her into the afterlife, so to speak, like, he literally, like, blows up a portal. Like, he draws with some chalk on a brick wall.
It's so Harold.
He draws a little, like, bomb, and then he, like, lights it on fire, and it, for real, like, blows it up, and they go into the afterlife. She's like, okay. They set off alarm bells in the afterworld, though, being like, there's a soul that doesn't belong here, because she's alive. She doesn't belong here. And then there's a police force that starts to be after him, who is led by none other than Willem Dafoe.
I feel so Kiki Palmer right now. I don't know who that man is. Sorry to this man. Who, I don't know who really. He could walk right past me. I wouldn't know the difference.
He was the Goblin in the first Spider-Man. I can show you a picture later. You're gonna know
watch it. Or is it the Maguire Spider-Man? I've never seen that.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of stuff, but he does mostly like artsy films. I don't know if you've seen. You'll know his face when I'll show him after. But he is he's not a real cop though. He played a cop on TV and then he died. So he thinks he's still like, he's like, I'm an actor. Or he goes, I'm a policeman. And the lady, like his secretary comes in. She goes, actually, you're an actor. And he goes, yes, thank you. Like he's basically died while he was still like method acting. So he thinks he's like the police chief. Funny. He rounds up all the dead zombies. And he's like, go find Beetlejuice.
But he doesn't actually have any police authority.
No, he's just an actor who played a cop on a show. Funny. But it's the afterlife, whatever.
Yeah, Beetlejuice man.
So they're on the run. Beetlejuice is like, I'm trying to find your daughter, yada yada. He and Lydia get like split up, and he's like, go into that room, like you'll find them and everything. Meanwhile, Astrid is with Ghosty Boy that she thinks she still likes, and they go to the passport office where they stamp your stamp you to let you go on to get on the Soul Train. It's like you gotta stamp your passport to enter the great beyond. Funny. Okay. So he's like, oh hey, we'll go here, they'll take your picture, we'll get stamped, and like we'll be good to go, and then we'll get out. And she goes, okay, that's great. When they get there, she's like, yeah, Underworld's not for me. Can we like hurry? Can we leave? Can we?
Also, I'm sorry.
She's trying to ask
him about the plan. Like, hey, man, what are we doing? Like, what's going to happen?
No.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie. There's a little more story going on in the second movie. So there, of course, are a little more plot holes going on. Like not as detailed kind of stuff. So they get to the passport office, the booth. They take her picture, and then he's like, "All right, thanks." It's kind of like the switch. He goes from being like charismatic, cute boy to being like the guy who murdered his parents. And she's like, "What happened?" She's like, "Are we good?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just traded your soul for mine. You know, like I gotta head back above ground. Catch you later." And she's like, "What?"
No, because Jenna, you're smarter than this.
That's where I was like,
come on.
She
her
whole life she refused to believe her mother that ghosts were real, and now she's like, just met this boy like the second time they hang out, and I'm like,
also I don't want to be rude, but like you are gonna trust some guy who died because he fell out of a treehouse?
You're gonna read some random incantation in the book and not read like the fine print?
Like, be real. Maybe say like, hey, let's go talk to my mom about this.
Oh, she did. She said maybe our mom can help us, and he's like, there's no time. Like we have to do it by midnight. He had some reason.
Okay.
She's like, okay, but she did at first be like,
yeah,
my mom
she's
can
like
help
ghost
us.
expert, you know.
She is. She did. She said that, and he's like, gotta be now or something like that. So she gets carried off by security to get onto the Soul Train to the Great Beyond, which is basically where your soul like. She gets on that train. So Beetlejuice tells Lydia, hey, and go through that door. Trust me, I'll meet up back up with you later. And she's like, okay, whatever. The door leads to where the Soul Train is. So she's seen her daughter get on it. And she's like, no, Astrid, wait. Aww. Astrid's like, oh my, Mom? You know, and she pulls her off. And then the police force is looking for Lydia. So they find her kind of thing. And she's like, what in the world? And then they fall into this open door. And it leads into this like sandy desert. And Lydia and Astrid are together. And they're like, okay, great, but where are we and where do we go from here? What are we doing? And then this like sand monster, which is kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas kind of animation style, like it's mixed in, kind of it starts to come and is like wants to eat them. And Lydia's like, oh my god, no, we cannot have that like sand worm catch us. And then this random stranger guy is like, hey, come through this door that just randomly opened up. And they do. And it turns out it's her dad. He was dead and he's been.
I know. I was half expecting you to say it was Harold with all this crown magic.
He's like, "Hey guys, want to play? I got this crown. Do you guys want to come play? We can draw something cool. I don't know how I got here. Is this your house?
Why is he a list?
I don't know. He feels childlike. Okay, so it's better than a grown man. Be like, hey guys." And the funny part is like the dad literally because. of all like the makeup and everything. All the people are dressed like how they died for the most part.
And he's got a shark attack, right?
No, that was the grandfather.
Grandpa.
Yeah, so her dad has piranhas just like all lodged into his body.
We're really into the aquatic dying.
And they're all like kind of flapping. It's really funny.
Jenna, don't go in the water, baby.
Don't go in the
That's
water,
not for your family.
But she's like, oh my god, Dad. And he's like, hey, kids. Like, they have a little like, be
Little
cute,
moment.
whatever.
That's
And he's
cute.
like, hey, we raised a great kid. And Mom's like, yeah.
Did we?
She's totally grounded, but we raised a great kid, you know? And then they're kind of like, oh, we gotta go now because they're still on the run because the police force is trying to find them. And they have to be like, how do we get out?
Yeah.
Where do we get out? Meanwhile, Beetlejuice is doing we don't know what yet. And it's funny, there's a scene where they're in this like zigzaggy hallway and he's going in and out of doors. And just when he gets out of shot, the ex-wife comes into shot. And
I
she's
forgot
like,
about
looking for
her.
him.
Oh my god.
I did kind of forget about it. There's a lot of side plots where you're like, when is it going to all tie together? Basically, they find a little door in a portal and they say goodbye to the dad, and Lydia and Astrid get back above ground. They end up at the church because she said she was going to marry the
That
weird
stupid
producer guy, and he
producer.
says, let's do it on Halloween. And so it's literally like Halloween night. Like, she's like, that's kind of fast, but okay. They get to the church. They're about to go down. She's dressed, whatever, gets about to go down the aisle. She gets to the aisle where he is.
It's Beetlejuice.
And no, there's like a giant cake and everything. There's the producer guy waiting. And then Beetlejuice comes in. And he's like, not so fast. He does this whole like Tom and Jerry kind of move where he has this big vial and it says like truth serum. And he like
into who?
into the TV producer guy. He's like, here you go, babe.
Gosh.
And then he spills he spills the truth. He's like, I don't believe in ghosts. I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid and everything. I just wanted you for your money, and that's why I wanted to marry you. And she's like, what? Really?
Aww.
And Jenna's just like, Ma.
Jenna's like, I know I've been really stupid this whole movie,
But
Mama, you've been stupid
Ma,
for 2 movies.
It runs in the family. We could, the first movie you were teen, we get it. We get it, kind of thing.
It's like, but now you're an
you
old,
gotta-
so
gotta-
you gotta get it together.
Yeah. We have been forgetting a character, though.
Oh, God.
Catherine O'Hara,
Oh,
the stepmom.
right, yes.
She was like big into her art, whatever, wanted to do this crazy weird thing. She goes to the gravesite of her husband.
Who died by the shark.
Yes. Who shows up in different parts of the movie where he's like, hey, like he just misses Lydia, he just misses Beetlejuice kind of thing. He's like, where am I going? He's got no head kind of thing. And so she's like, she's filming herself doing some strange interpretive art thing. She gets these like snakes who she says has been promised and paid extra that they were defanged. They weren't. She like raised them up, everything, and so she dies. And so she ends up in that afterward. She just missed him, her dead husband, and she's I'm not supposed to be here. Is there a VIP room? She's very extra about it, and she's like, I'm important. And like she's like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Beetlejuice.
Oh my gosh. Wait. So if someone says it, does he have to appear? Like if he doesn't want to?
I think I don't know. I think he knows who it is, so he's like pops up. He's like, haha, never thought you'd call on me. And he like helps her out basically. So both of them end up at crashing the wedding. And they're there and stuff. The girls don't know that she died. They're like, whatever, we'll get to that kind of thing, I guess. And so she dumps producer guy, and then Beetlejuice is like, well, it is already a wedding. And, you did sign the contract, so we gotta get married now, Lydia. And she's like, do I have to? kind of thing.
Seriously.
Like, I don't want to. And so then Jenna got smart. She has the book, the handbook and everything. She goes, well, actually, Beetlejuice, it says here that, like, if the alive person or something, like, enters the afterlife while they're still alive, some kind of loophole, she's like, then the contract is null and void. And he's like,
poo.
dang it. In that moment, ex-wife comes in. She's like, Beetlejuice, you're mine. Like, she wants to suck his soul. And he's like, can somebody help me here? Kind of thing. And they're like, oh.
How would we do that?
What do we do? So she's, like, fighting him. There's, like, a whole big scene, a whole blue, everything. And he's like, well, here, take the ex-producer guy. She's like, what? And so it's, like, her and the jerk of a producer Jenna has read the book again, and she's like, quick, somebody hand me a piece of chalk. She's drawing something on there. And then
I can't.
once Beetlejuice, like, is, like, semi-safe from the evil ex-wife, and the producer is next to her and everything, this big sandworm comes up out of the floor where Jenna had been writing for it. Like, she conjured it up or, like, whatever. Or she, like, drew a portal. Comes up, sandworm eats them. And they're gone. Kind of, like, save the day.
Where is bad ghost boyfriend?
I'm so glad you asked that, Gabby. So, remember how I said that Beetlejuice kind of, like, went his separate way from Lydia? And a lot of stuff happened in between when Lydia went to find her daughter? So when the dad is helping them run through and get away from the cops and trying to find the door back into the life and that stuff, they have to go back through the passport office, which is where the dad worked and everything, and he's like, we can help you, we can get it stamped, whatever, and then they see evil ghost boy getting his passport stamped one last time to be able to, like, be signed, sealed, deliver. It gets stamped, and they're like, no, we can't get her soul back. Like, because they're seeing it from afar. They're like, oh, no, what do we do? We're too late. And he looks back at them. He's like, catch you later. I'll show you the clip. It's really funny. He's like, suckers. And then he turns back, and when he looks at the window at who had just stamped his passport, the guy with the hat lifts up. It's Beetlejuice. And on the passport, it says, shit out of luck.
Oh.
He's like, sorry, buddy, like, have a nice time in hell kind of thing. And Beetlejuice pulls a lever, and evil ghost boy goes into the fiery pit down under. You gotta admit, Beetlejuice helped them out.
He did. Honestly, Beetlejuice is kind of seeming like the hero of this movie.
Yeah, he was more helpful than hurtful. He reunited a family. He helped the stepmom, Catherine O'Hara, like, out when she was like, where do I go? What do I do? Kind of thing. He's like, hold on, I got you. You know, he did a lot.
Yeah.
He was kind of almost a good guy-ish.
But he's still single.
Yeah, so they're all hugging, it ends and everything, and then Catherine O'Hara, the Willem Dafoe comes, the police guy, he's like, hey, you gotta come back with me. And Beetlejuice is like, okay, fine, oh, I'm out, kind of thing. And then he's like, you too, and points to the stepmom. And that's when
they find out she's dead.
Yeah, that's when they find out she's dead. They're like, wait, what do you mean you two? And she's like, they told me they were defanged, the snakes.
God.
And Jenna Ortega's just like, Catherine O'Hara is dead. And so they say their goodbyes, and she's like, it's okay, I'll see you guys later, whatever. So she goes to get on the Soul Train, the Great Beyond, and she sees someone else getting on the Soul Train.
Shark Boy?
Yeah.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl reunited once again.
It is kind of, because she does have, like, the fiery red hair.
Oh, nice.
It is. It's her husband
that's
that he by a
cute.
shark, and he's like,
Aww.
oh, it's you. She's like, oh my god. She's like, oh my god, you did actually get bit by a shark. What in the world? You know. And so they just, you know, they kind of have a happy ending.
Okay, that's good.
And so everything wraps up. Like,
Good.
the end.
Yay.
Or is it?
Oh, what is this, Descendants?
Great episode you guys should watch too. Totally different vibe though.
You didn't think that was the end of the story, did you?
Lydia is peacefully asleep. She wakes up. She feels like she's like had the strangest dream. And then Beetlejuice is in bed next to her. And he goes, oh, wow. It's a really weird dream, wasn't it? And then she, like, wakes up
Jump
again.
scare.
Yeah, she, like, wakes up again. And then she's like, what in the world?
So he's gone when she wakes up again.
It's like a dream within a dream. Like, she does that, like, twice. Like, she does, like, the wake up thing twice. And then it just, like, ends. And it really makes you think, like, oh, is he going to be back? Is this the end? Are we going to get a Beetlejuice 3? Like, it doesn't leave a cliffhanger, but it does leave the door open.
This might be really niche callback. Not callback, sorry. But, like, reference. When I was watching, you know that show 10 Things I Hate About You with Amanda
Love.
Fines? That scene where she wakes up after, like, a crazy night in Vegas or whatever, and she's, like, married to, and she's like, wait, what happened? And that guy comes out, and she's like, ah! And then, like, she wakes up, and she's like, oh, thank God. But then, like, she still has a wedding ring on. It's, like, it is, like, that dreamception kind of thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out she did actually marry the fireman in the 10 things I hate about you.
Is that 10 things I hate about you? Isn't 10 things
What I like about you. What I like
Yeah.
about you.
I was like, Amanda Bynes?
What I like about you.
Come on, Gabby. You are the resident rom-com expert. Come on.
What I like about you, the TV show with Amanda Bynes.
Yes.
And that woman from 90210.
Yes. The sitcom.
sitcom.
Yes.
That.
Not the
Not the
Shakespeare,
Shakespeare
adaptation.
No.
With Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles. Different.
Great movie.
Both great movies.
One of them's a TV show.
Different. This shows that, once again, the episode has run too long. Sorry, not sorry for all the spoilers. I do think this is going to continue to be a classic.
Yes.
I think the first one will always be top tier.
Yes.
But I had so much fun. I laughed out loud several times. Now, since I was having a wonderful little treat myself day and I went at 10 a.m., there was like no one else in the theater.
Yeah.
Which is great, but at the same time I was like, oh, I kind of want the audience.
Yeah,
to,
you
like,
want to get a little bit of the audience vibe.
But I was in like one of the like cozy reclining seats. And I was like, oh, that's so nice, kind of fun. And it was just so... It just brought me joy, the film, because it was so fun to see the characters come back. They had grown, but they hadn't changed too much. You weren't like, what happened in between.
Right.
But at the same time, you learn backstories on Beetlejuice, and you have like new characters. I thought they did it really nicely,
So
as opposed to trying to be the same.
I don't know if it'll be streaming by the time Halloween hits, but just in case it's not, would you think it's worth renting out for like a Halloween movie?
Yes. In fact, if it stays in
Theaters
long enough, then I would actually pay to go see it, because it was really nice. I saw it in Dolby.
Ooh.
At AMC.
And we rich.
I did not choose it, guys. That was just the 10 a.m. movie, okay? And again, my reclining seat did not recline. I like
you got
seats.
cursed somehow. We need to figure that out. Not through witchcraft.
This time I clicked on the seat next to me, made sure it reclined, and as it was reclining, I jumped in the seat because I was scared.
That's something you can do when you go to a 10 a.m. movie, because you know no one sees somebody in that seat.
I'm not gonna lie, I brought a bagel. I had a great
Amazing.
time. I was
Amazing.
like, I went for a run in the morning, and then I was like, I didn't have time.
I tried telling her, like, this was the experience I had watching Harold and the Purple Crown. And when I was, like, talking about how good I was kind of like, I don't know if it's just because I saw it in the morning, but, like...
I'm having a great time. I know it's, like, not super dark, but I know it's, like, a Halloween-y movie. But I was just like, oh, it's just so fun.
I know you seem like you don't want to wake up, but trust us. Do a morning movie and then come talk to us.
10, 11, 15, not that bad.
It's not bad.
Then you're going to get lunch instead of a late dinner.
Yeah. You, like, get out of the theater and it's bright and, like, your whole day is still ahead of you.
You could take your time, too. I feel like sometimes after, like, night movies, you either are, like, rushing to eat before or you're wondering what to eat after, or that's how they get you on the popcorn, honestly. Which, not bad. But and I also think it's just so, like, it's just such a wonderfully weird experience to go in when and you have the dark movie and the lights are out, and then you walk outside and you're like blinded by the daylight.
Yeah. It's also cheaper.
And everyone else is walking around the street and you're just like, you guys don't know what I've been doing the last 2 hours.
Idea.
You have no idea.
My life has been changed by Harold and the Purple Crown.
You guys are just on your lunch break. I just saw a movie.
And you have to go by yourself, though. Don't bring no friends to this. This is not a friends thing.
No, friends things are evening movies.
Those are evenings.
Morning movies are sacred and they're for you only. That's for and don't feel weird going to the movies alone.
No. If you feel weird going to the movies alone, literally DM us, because I have so many reasons why it's the best thing in the world.
So many reasons.
It's so great. It's not like going out to eat by yourself where you feel kind of awkward and you're bored and you're sad.
No.
Movie by yourself, elite.
And I will say, sometimes you want to do something for yourself or, like, treat yourself, but you're like, oh, I don't want to spend, like, money on, like, a drink or food. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes you're over that, or sometimes you're like, oh, I feel like I'm wasting money because I have food at home. When you go see a matinee, like, a lot of times they'll have it discounted.
Yeah.
And if it's just a regular, I mean, the Dolby one or, like, IMAX is going to be a little more expensive, but a regular movie. Yeah. And
also, AMC don't come for us, but, like, freaking bring your stuff from home. No one's checking the bags.
Yeah.
It's post-COVID days. No one's checking the bags. Bring your stuff.
At 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. There's no one even in the movie theater, so if you bring something a little smelly, they probably won't even smell it.
I'm not gonna... I'm gonna breadcrumb a little bit of what we will be covering next. but I did go to the movies twice.
She
this
did it
week.
again. She was like, this was such a great experience. What can I watch next?
What can I was like, Gabby, I'll cover it. Don't worry, I got you again. And it was an IMAX, which I thought was like...
Because she rich.
Oh, I did. I went to...
She got the money.
She got the money. I went to give them the ticket at the regular floor. And they were like, oh, this is IMAX. This is where the rich people go. And I was like, what? And then I realized what they meant. There was like a whole separate concession stand. The guy doing the ticket stubs was like, oh, you're in for a great movie today. Good morning. I was like, good morning to you too?
Were you at Lincoln Square?
I was. Lincoln Square AMC is...
Lincoln Square AMC. If you work at the Lincoln Square AMC,
We
what
love
training do y'all go through? Because y'all are the most hype, positive. Like, it's almost like game day. Like, I go in and y'all are like, let's go.
Forget Chick-fil-A workers.
Yeah, sorry.
You guys... Yeah,
whole other level.
Just the Lincoln Square AMC. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
only the
all
Lincoln
of you
Square
other
in New
ones.
York City and Manhattan. I'm very sorry for... It's unmatched.
They are excited to be there. It is great. It is an experience, and there's no bed bugs.
Yet.
That's why we go there. But and then I will say, because I went to a morning movie, I mean, I didn't really care that much, but he was like, oh, our morning moviegoers get this free poster, and it was for like Sonic 3.
Oh my God.
Apparently there's 3 movies.
We will show a picture of it on Instagram sometime.
If you guys, actually, we're gonna show a picture right here.
Oh,
right
editing
now.
Diane?
Editing Diane is getting
What?
bold. Editing Diane forgets that she doesn't have enough time for this, but it's right here, guys.
Editing Diane is
Right
just
there.
gonna cut this part out.
Probably.
She's gonna be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
That's not what I'm covering because that comes out later.
That's
so
December.
if you guys want us to cover it,
You're gonna have
in
to.
December, you're gonna really have to
You're
convince
gonna have to
us.
really subscribe to this channel.
You're
'cause
gonna-
I might quit next month.
Yeah, Gabby needs all the subscribers we can get because she's just had. Harold was her breaking point, honestly.
Harold was my breaking
I
point.
feel like after that, you're like, nothing tops Harold. I gotta tap out.
Listen, Harold, that movie changed my life. It's like the most amazing comfort movie. If you haven't seen Harold, when it comes to streaming, you will not regret it, family.
We know this theme for today is Beetlejuice, but Gabby's just trying to work Harold into any kind of conversation.
Literally, they had a chalk in the Beetlejuice
They did.
movie. They
It
were
was-
pulling Harold. They were referencing
They were
Harold
pulling
the whole
Harold.
time.
I'm not gonna lie. And then it magically became what you drew.
I mean,
and
come on.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. But that was me with watching Beetlejuice. One, I was super excited.
Mm-hmm.
I was also skeptical because I was like, "Ooh, what if it's not as good?
Yeah.
Or like it's a remake, or it's trying too hard to be the first one." I should have known I was in good, trusted hands with Tim Burton, though.
Okay,
I should have known.
I'm gonna ask you a hard question. Beetlejuice or Lisa Frankenstein?
They're two separate.
Yeah, but they're both
Entities there.
Halloweeny, you know? If I haven't seen either of them, not me personally, but just like the general masses hasn't seen either of them, what are they watching this Halloween?
Okay. If you don't like scary, you don't like super intense, you don't like overly campy in the sense of like way out there concepts, and you want just something that makes you feel like Halloween but still kind of laughable, but it's not a kids movie, Lisa Frankenstein. If you don't mind a little campy, a little out of the box, a little whose mind thinks of this crap, any Tim Burton film will do. Any of them. Any of them.
My favorite is Corpse Bride. I don't know why. I love that movie so much.
So good. I need to rewatch it.
Tears
Now
to
that's
Shed
been
is a
at
good
least
song.
3 or 4 Halloweens since I've seen that.
Oh, really? I used to watch it every Halloween, but I think I actually skipped last year. I think I was just not in the Halloween mood at all last year. I just didn't want any part of it.
I will say, Halloween last year was when I got into the X-Files. Because like Gabby with her Harold and the Purple Crayon, I will take any episode to mention X-Files. So what are you guys watching this Halloween,
Let
whether
us
it's new or
know.
old?
Yeah.
A TV show, something that's not super spooky or Halloween themed, but is still kind of goes with it. Me, I chose Aliens last year. I think I'll do my rewatch. If you guys want us to cover X-Files, please let me know.
Have y'all started
I'll be so
Gilmore
happy.
Girls yet? Is Gilmore Girls
Yeah, is that-
fall?
are you
What are your
guys-
fall cozy shows if you're not into like the scary stuff?
Personally, I'm usually like a Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, like I'm a kid's kind of Halloween.
Yeah.
But last year and this year, I've really been wanting to get into more of the classics. Like I watched
Yeah.
Scream for the first time
Oh,
last
okay.
year. I felt really behind on everything.
I finally
but
watched Saw. Finally watched it.
yeah. There's a fine line for me because sometimes I really don't like the super
Yeah.
realistic stuff, but I really like the kind of 90s and back
Yeah.
kind of scary movies, like the Blair Witch Project, the OG one, and like the first Chainsaw Massacre, because you know, you're kind of like, okay,
Right. We've evolved.
It's not as we've evolved. This doesn't feel as real, you know. You don't have like the CGI like ghosts coming out at you. So
Oof.
I don't know what vibe I'm gonna be this year though. We need to stop. So I have one last question. Gabby, have I convinced you enough to at least watch the first Beetlejuice with me for Halloween?
You have convinced me enough to think about it.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You kind of had me at Catherine O'Hara.
Oh.
You do know now, though, that you have to watch Schitt's Creek this fall.
I know. It has been on my list for so long.
Catherine O'Hara
I've just
is in it, and she's glorious.
I feel like I'm in my movie phase right now. I can't start a new TV show. And I really want to. I've heard such good things about it. I cannot wait to watch it. I feel like I'm going to love it.
The baby.
One day. But I will say, Beetlejuice was training for that. She was training for that role.
She walked so... Why can't I think of that woman's name in the show?
Moira?
Moira. How does she know? Moira Rose. She hasn't even watched this dang thing. Yes. Homegirl walks so Moira Rose could have run.
Homegirl, yeah. It's so funny because I can't remember her. I can't remember her name in Beetlejuice, but I remember Schitt's Creek.
You've never even seen it.
Alright, guys. We're gonna go. Thank you. Subscribe. Like, tell us what you're dressing like for Halloween, what you're watching, what you want us to watch, or just say hi because we get tired of talking to each other. And that's that on that.
Beetlejuice.
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 That's not a unicorn. That's just a pony with pink hair.